Raising your standards is one of the most powerful choices you can make to improve your life. It means deciding what you will accept for yourself and what you won't settle for anymore. When you raise your standards, you start to see yourself differently. You expect more from your actions, and you create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. This process isn't about perfection or quick fixes. It's about steady daily steps that build confidence, strength, and clarity over time. In this guide, you'll discover practical ways to change your mindset, develop better habits, and protect your energy so you can move forward without getting stuck. You'll learn how to deal with fear, setbacks, and distractions in a way that keeps you growing. This isn't just advice, it's a plan to help you take control of your life and become the person you truly want to be. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure about how to make real changes, this is for you. We'll explore how small actions can lead to big results, how to stay motivated when things get hard, and how to celebrate every step so you don't lose momentum. By the end, you'll have a clear path to raise your standards and live with more purpose, confidence, and resilience. Stick with this journey because raising your standards will change how you see yourself and your future. You're about to learn what it takes to make lasting improvements that matter every single day. Chapter 1. Commit daily to improve your mindset and habits. Committing daily to improve your mindset and habits is the foundation for raising your standards and transforming your life in meaningful ways. It's not about a sudden, overwhelming change, but about the consistent, intentional choices you make every single day. The journey begins with a simple decision to prioritize your growth, to take ownership of your thoughts and actions, and to nurture habits that align with the life you want to build. This is a path that demands patience, persistence, and resilience, yet it promises the most powerful and lasting transformation you can experience. Improving your mindset means shifting the way you view yourself, your challenges, and your potential. It requires recognizing that your current reality is not fixed, and that with steady effort, you can change the quality of your thoughts. Your habits, the daily routines and behaviors you engage in, are the practical tools that support this mental shift. Together, mindset and habits create a cycle. Your thoughts influence your actions, and your actions reinforce your thoughts. When this cycle is positive and deliberate, it propels you forward toward higher standards in every area of life. The first step to making this commitment is understanding the role of the mind. The mind is where your life's direction begins. If your mindset is limited by doubt, fear, or negativity, your actions will reflect that. But if you train your mind to expect growth, embrace challenges, and see setbacks as lessons, you open the door to new possibilities. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes repeated effort and conscious awareness. Start by observing your thoughts without judgment. Notice patterns that pull you down, words like "I can't," "it's too hard," or "this will never work." These thoughts, repeated often, form mental habits that block progress. The practice of catching these thoughts as they arise is itself a discipline. When you identify a negative thought, pause and ask yourself if it's true or helpful. More often than not, it isn't. Then replace it with a statement rooted in possibility. "I am capable of learning," "every step forward counts," or "challenges make me stronger." This mental exercise rewires your brain over time. It creates a new default way of thinking, one that supports higher standards and personal growth. Alongside this mental work, commit to improving your habits. Habits are the small decisions repeated daily that shape your life. They are powerful because they happen automatically once established, freeing mental energy for other pursuits. However, building new habits requires patience and clear intention. The key is to start small and focus on consistency. Choose one habit that aligns with your goal to raise your standards and practice it every day. For example, if you want to improve your focus, commit to a habit of setting a daily priority list each morning. This act alone shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive. It organizes your day around what matters most rather than distractions. When you follow through on this habit daily, you train your brain to prioritize, plan, and execute with purpose. This small change ripples into other areas, increasing your productivity and confidence. Commitment also means accepting that setbacks will occur. There will be days when motivation wanes or distractions pull you off course. This is normal and part of the process. The difference between raising your standards and remaining stuck lies in your response to these challenges. Instead of giving up, recommit the next day. Treat each day as a fresh opportunity to improve. This daily recommitment builds resilience, the mental toughness that enables you to keep going even when it's difficult. Building resilience also requires understanding the connection between mindset and emotion. Your emotional state colors your thoughts and influences your actions. When frustration, fear, or discouragement arise, they can hijack your efforts. To raise your standards, learn to recognize these emotions and respond with calm awareness. This means not allowing emotions to control your decisions, but using them as signals to adjust your approach. One practical way to manage this is through journaling. Spend a few minutes each evening writing about your experiences, challenges, and progress. This practice clarifies your thoughts and emotions, giving you insight into what is working and what needs adjustment. Writing your experiences down also reinforces your commitment, making your progress tangible and real. Another essential element is surrounding yourself with reminders and reinforcements of your new standards. Your environment plays a crucial role in shaping habits and mindset. Fill your space with positive affirmations, quotes, or images that inspire you to keep growing. Remove distractions or temptations that pull you back into old patterns. When your surroundings reflect your commitment, you make it easier to stay on track. Accountability is another powerful tool. Sharing your goals with a trusted friend, mentor, or community creates external support that encourages you to follow through. Knowing someone else is aware of your commitment adds a layer of motivation and responsibility. Regularly check in with this support system to celebrate your progress and discuss challenges. This connection reminds you that growth is a shared human experience, not a solitary struggle. Daily commitment to growth also means valuing the process over the outcome. Too often, people focus on big results and overlook the importance of small, steady progress. Raising your standards is about building momentum. Each small step forward increases your confidence and capability. Celebrate these moments of progress. Each day you improve your mindset and habits. You are laying bricks in the foundation of a better life. This mindset of valuing progress keeps you from falling into perfectionism or impatience. It teaches patience and kindness toward yourself. Recognize that transformation is not linear. Some days you may feel like you've taken 2 steps back, but if you keep moving forward daily, the overall trajectory is upward. A powerful practice to maintain this commitment is morning reflection. Before starting your day, take a moment to set a clear intention for how you want to grow. This could be as simple as deciding to listen more carefully, stay focused on one task, or resist a bad habit. Setting this intention grounds your day in purpose and primes your mind to act in alignment with your standards. In addition to mental and emotional habits, physical routines support raising your standards. Exercise, nutrition, and rest influence your energy and mindset profoundly. When your body is strong and well cared for, your mind follows. Commit to small, sustainable practices that nourish your body daily. This could be a short walk, drinking enough water, or getting adequate sleep. These acts of self-care reinforce the message that you deserve to operate at your highest level. It's important to approach this commitment with realistic expectations. Change is rarely dramatic or easy. It is often quiet and steady, showing itself in subtle shifts over weeks and months. Keep your focus on what you can control, your effort and your attitude. By consistently investing in your mindset and habits, you create a ripple effect that touches every part of your life. As this daily commitment grows stronger, you will notice a shift in how you handle challenges. Problems become puzzles rather than obstacles. Your confidence builds because you have proof of your ability to improve. This growing belief in yourself raises your standards naturally, pushing you to seek out higher goals and better outcomes. Part of raising your standards is learning to say no to what doesn't serve you. This requires clarity about what matters most and courage to protect your time and energy. When you commit daily to improve your mindset, you also become more selective about the people, activities, and thoughts you allow into your life. This discernment is a sign of respect for yourself and your journey. Over time, this daily practice creates a powerful identity shift. You begin to see yourself as someone who takes charge of their life, who perseveres through difficulties, and who values growth above comfort. This new identity is the root of lasting change because it aligns your actions with who you truly want to become. In summary, committing daily to improve your mindset and habits is a transformative choice. It requires waking up each day with purpose, observing your thoughts, taking intentional actions, and responding to setbacks with resilience. It means valuing progress over perfection and surrounding yourself with support and reminders of your commitment. This is a practice of self-mastery, a steady climb toward raising your standards and creating a life of meaning and achievement. The power of this commitment lies not in grand gestures, but in small, repeated steps. Each day you choose to think differently, act intentionally, and care for yourself. You strengthen the foundation of your future. This foundation supports everything you want to build: health, relationships, success, and peace. You are not defined by past mistakes or limitations. Each day is an opportunity to realign with your highest standards. The choice to commit daily is a promise to yourself that you deserve growth and fulfillment. This promise is the first and most important step on your journey to becoming the person you aspire to be. Keep this commitment close and return to it often. It is the steady engine that drives lasting change. As you invest in your mindset and habits day by day, you will see the slow and sure transformation that turns ordinary moments into extraordinary progress. This is the heart of raising your standards and living a life that reflects your true potential. Chapter 2. Set clear boundaries to protect your energy and focus. Setting clear boundaries to protect your energy and focus is a vital step toward raising your standards and maintaining control over your life. Without boundaries, your energy becomes scattered, your focus diminishes, and your progress stalls. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate, but fences that safeguard your time, your attention, and your well-being. They help you decide what is acceptable and what is not in your interactions with others and even with yourself. The first thing to understand about boundaries is that they are personal and unique. What drains one person might not drain another. What distracts you might not bother someone else. Recognizing what saps your energy requires honest self-awareness. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions, activities, or commitments. Notice when you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, or irritated. These emotional signals indicate where your boundaries may need strengthening. Once you identify areas where your energy is being drained, the next step is to take ownership and set limits. This is an act of self-respect and courage. It involves communicating clearly to yourself and others about what you will and will not tolerate. Setting boundaries means saying no when necessary, stepping away from toxic situations, and prioritizing your needs without guilt. It is important to remember that protecting your energy is not selfish. It is essential for growth and well-being. A common challenge in setting boundaries is fear of disappointing others or creating conflict. However, compromising your peace to please everyone else is a path to frustration and burnout. Real strength lies in the ability to assert your needs calmly and confidently. Practicing simple but firm language helps build this skill. For example, saying "I am not available for that right now" or "I need time to focus on my priorities" communicates your limits without aggression or apology. Boundaries extend beyond just people. They apply to how you manage your time and focus as well. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, constant notifications, endless requests for attention. Without boundaries, these distractions pull your focus away from what matters most. Decide in advance when and how you will engage with technology and information. Setting specific times to check emails or social media can preserve your mental space and prevent overwhelm. Creating physical boundaries in your environment also supports your focus. Designate areas for work, rest, and leisure. Keep your workspace organized and free from clutter to help your mind stay clear and productive. When you enter your work area, train yourself to shift into focus mode. This physical separation signals to your brain that it's time to concentrate and be productive. Another important boundary to set is around your emotional energy. Not every problem or drama deserves your involvement. Protect yourself by choosing when and how deeply to engage with others' issues. Listening and supporting is valuable, but being consumed by negativity or conflict is draining. Learning to step back and preserve your emotional well-being is a sign of maturity and self-care. Maintaining boundaries requires ongoing attention and adjustment. As you grow, your needs and limits may change. Be flexible but firm. Reassess regularly where you feel stretched too thin or distracted and adjust your boundaries accordingly. This ongoing process keeps your energy aligned with your priorities and supports sustainable growth. Setting boundaries also means learning to say no without over-explaining or justifying yourself excessively. Your reasons for protecting your time and energy are valid. You don't owe elaborate excuses. Keeping your responses simple helps you maintain clarity and confidence. This reduces the risk of being pulled into negotiations that wear down your resolve. It's useful to remember that others may react to your boundaries with resistance or misunderstanding. This is natural because your new limits may disrupt their expectations or habits. Stay calm and consistent. Over time, people will learn to respect your boundaries as they see you honoring them without wavering. Your example encourages others to reflect on their own limits and self-respect. Setting boundaries strengthens your sense of control and self-worth. When you protect your energy, you can give your best to what truly matters. You build the capacity to focus deeply, act with intention, and rise to your potential. Boundaries create the space for clarity, creativity, and sustained effort. They are a foundation for any meaningful transformation. A practical way to start setting boundaries is by listing your top 3 energy drains, activities, people, or habits that leave you feeling depleted. Then choose one to address first. Decide what limit you will set and how you will communicate it. Take small but firm steps. For example, if you find constant interruptions during your work frustrating, set a boundary around your work hours and let colleagues or family know you are not to be disturbed unless it is urgent. Recognize that setting boundaries may feel uncomfortable initially because it challenges old patterns of people-pleasing or over-committing. This discomfort is a sign you are expanding your self-respect. Stay committed. Despite this unease, the freedom and focus you gain will outweigh the temporary awkwardness. Incorporating boundary setting into your daily routine can transform how you experience life. Start your day by reminding yourself of the limits you will uphold. Visualize yourself honoring these boundaries confidently throughout the day. Reflect in the evening on how well you maintain them and where you can improve. This reflection strengthens your boundary muscles and keeps your standards high. Boundaries also improve your relationships. When you clearly communicate your needs and limits, you invite respect and honesty. Others appreciate knowing where you stand because it removes guesswork and resentment. Healthy boundaries lead to deeper, more authentic connections based on mutual understanding and respect. Energy protection through boundaries creates mental clarity. When your mind is not cluttered by unnecessary demands or distractions, your focus sharpens. This enables you to approach tasks with greater efficiency and creativity. You accomplish more with less stress because you are working in alignment with your true priorities. Ultimately, setting clear boundaries is a powerful act of self-leadership. It sends a message to yourself and the world that your energy and focus matter. It demands that you take responsibility for your environment and your well-being. This discipline is key to raising your standards because it sets the terms for how you engage with life. Your energy is a precious resource. Treat it as such. Just like you guard your physical health with exercise and nutrition, guard your mental and emotional energy with boundaries. This protects you from burnout and depletion, making your growth sustainable and your progress steady. The strength of your boundaries will determine how effectively you can stay focused on your goals. The better you protect your energy, the more resilient you become in the face of distractions, setbacks, and demands. Boundaries help you maintain momentum and direction, even when external circumstances are challenging. In practical terms, this means saying no to low-value commitments and yes to what aligns with your purpose. It means scheduling time for rest and reflection, just as you would for work or social activities. It means being selective about who you spend your time with and how deeply you engage with their issues. Setting boundaries is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice. As life changes, so do your needs. Revisit your boundaries regularly and adjust them to maintain balance. This ongoing work keeps you tuned in to your energy levels and focused on your highest priorities. When you protect your energy and focus with clear boundaries, you create a life that supports your growth and success. You develop the freedom to pursue what matters without being pulled off course. This freedom is the soil from which higher standards grow. Choosing to set boundaries is choosing to respect yourself. It is an act of courage and wisdom that paves the way for greater clarity, productivity, and well-being. When you commit to this practice daily, you build a strong foundation for lasting transformation. Remember that boundaries empower you to be your best self. They create the conditions necessary for deep focus, creative thinking, and meaningful action. They keep distractions and negativity at bay, so you can give your full energy to your goals. The journey of raising your standards begins with this step, taking control of your energy and focus by setting clear boundaries. It is a practice of self-care, discipline, and respect that leads to profound growth. When you protect what matters most, everything else falls into place with greater ease. This commitment to boundaries will serve you for life. It will guard your time, your peace, and your purpose. It will fuel your journey toward becoming the person you are capable of being. Each day you honor these boundaries, you strengthen your foundation for success. Make this choice now. Decide to protect your energy fiercely and focus without distraction. This decision is a powerful declaration that your life and your standards matter. Keep this commitment steady and watch how your life transforms through the simple yet profound act of setting clear boundaries. Chapter 3. Develop discipline by following through on small promises. Discipline is not something you wait to feel motivated for. It is something you create by doing what you said you would do, especially when no one is watching. The most powerful way to develop real discipline is by keeping the small promises you make to yourself. These promises may not seem like much to anyone else, but they carry weight because they are a reflection of your ability to trust yourself. When you say you'll do something, wake up at a certain time, complete a short task, eat healthier, avoid distractions, and you actually follow through, you send a message to your mind that your word means something. That message builds strength over time. The real problem is not that people don't know what to do. The problem is that they often don't do what they said they would. They break promises to themselves and then wonder why they feel stuck. It doesn't matter how small the promise is. What matters is whether or not you honor it. The more you keep your word, the more control you gain over your own actions. That control becomes confidence. That confidence becomes discipline. And discipline is what leads to freedom. Small promises are your training ground. They are the daily decisions you make that seem unimportant in the moment, but slowly shape who you are becoming. If you tell yourself you'll drink a glass of water when you wake up, and you do it every morning, that builds mental strength. If you commit to writing one sentence a day, and you do it, that builds consistency. If you plan to stretch for 5 minutes before bed, and you follow through even when tired, that builds endurance. These are not just habits, they are proof that you can rely on yourself. It's easy to think that discipline is built only through grand sacrifices or massive effort, but the truth is, most people fail not because they can't take on big challenges, but because they ignore the small ones. They dismiss the value of simple actions, but the way you do the small things is the way you'll do everything. If you can't follow through on what you told yourself this morning, how will you trust yourself when it's time to make bigger decisions? The foundation of discipline is repetition of honest action. Following through on small promises requires clarity. You can't keep a promise that you don't clearly define. Start by deciding what matters and write it down. Don't make 10 promises a day. Make 1 or 2 that you know you can keep. Choose them with intention. These could be as simple as spending 10 minutes reading, walking for 15 minutes, or turning off your phone at a certain hour. Then stick to them, no matter what. The purpose isn't to be perfect. The purpose is to build proof. There will be days when excuses seem more powerful than your intentions. You'll feel tempted to skip the task, delay it, or ignore it altogether. Those are the moments that test your standards. That's when discipline is built. When you do the thing anyway, especially when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your internal resolve. That's how your mind learns to trust your actions over your emotions. That's how your life begins to shift. Every time you keep a small promise, you stack a layer of inner strength. That strength compounds. It becomes part of how you think, how you move, how you handle setbacks. And the best part is that discipline is not dependent on talent, money, or background. It's something anyone can develop because it is simply the act of doing what you said you'd do. It belongs to the consistent, not just the naturally gifted. There's a difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is temporary. It fades. It's easy to be excited for a day or two, but when the novelty wears off, what remains is your ability to take action without needing a feeling to push you. Discipline is showing up even when the mood is gone. That's why it matters to build it with small actions. You train your mind to value follow-through more than comfort. You learn to focus on doing instead of debating. Small promises are manageable. They don't overwhelm. That's why they are powerful. You can build momentum without feeling like you have to change everything overnight. You stop waiting for the perfect time and start acting within your current reality. One fulfilled promise leads to another, and over time, what seemed difficult becomes automatic. It becomes your new standard. People often overlook the importance of momentum. When you keep one small promise today, you're more likely to keep another tomorrow. That creates a rhythm. You start to trust your ability to finish what you start. That trust makes you more likely to set bigger goals because you believe in your own follow-through. It's not about trying harder. It's about staying honest with your effort, day after day. There will be times when you break a promise. That doesn't mean you failed. What matters is what you do next. Do you ignore it and slide back into old habits? Or do you recognize the slip, reset, and return with stronger focus? Discipline includes recovery. It includes learning from your missteps without giving up your standards. You're not aiming for flawlessness. You're aiming for consistency. And that's something you build, one small act at a time. Another benefit of following through on small promises is that it quiets the noise in your mind. When you keep delaying what you say you'll do, your mind becomes cluttered with guilt, pressure, and stress. But when you follow through, your mind becomes clearer. You don't carry the weight of unfinished intentions. You walk through the day knowing you can count on yourself. That clarity frees you to think better, act faster, and feel stronger. Following through also creates identity. When you keep promises, you begin to see yourself differently. You're no longer just someone who talks about change. You become someone who follows through. That shift in identity is deep and lasting. It moves you from hope to certainty, from wishing to knowing, and that changes the way you show up in the world. This process doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be quiet. You don't need to announce your commitments or seek approval. You just need to do them. Discipline grows in the unseen moments, the early mornings, the late nights, the days when no one applauds, but you still follow through. That's when real growth happens. Your promises should match your capacity. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be honest about what you can commit to. The goal is not to impress others. It's to build something solid within yourself, something unshakable. You do that by choosing small promises and refusing to let them slide. Eventually, those small acts of discipline spill into every area of your life. You become more intentional with your time, your relationships, your health, and your work. You stop letting distractions pull you off course because you've trained yourself to stay on track. You hold yourself to a higher level because you've built the habit of honoring your word. This kind of discipline is rare not because it's complicated, but because it requires humility and patience. It asks you to keep showing up, even when results are slow. It demands effort without applause. But those who commit to it experience a level of strength and peace that can't be faked. Discipline built through small promises is one of the few things you can fully control. You can't control outcomes, opinions, or circumstances, but you can control your effort. You can control whether or not you do what you said you'd do. That control gives you power, not over the world, but over yourself, and that's the only power that truly matters. So if you want to raise your standards, don't wait for a perfect plan or a big opportunity. Start where you are. Pick one promise, keep it, then pick another, keep that one too. Stack them, let them build something real inside you. Let them shape your character, because in the end, the person who does what they say, no matter how small, is the person who becomes unstoppable. Chapter 4. Surround yourself only with people who lift you up. The people around you shape your thoughts, your energy, your confidence, and ultimately your direction in life. When you surround yourself with people who lift you up, you protect your peace and feed your growth. These are the people who believe in your potential, challenge you to do better, and remind you of your worth even when you doubt it yourself. They don't compete with you, they cheer for you. They don't drain your spirit, they help you build it. They don't hold you back, they help you move forward. If you want to raise your standards, you must first raise the standards of the company you keep. The truth is, many people remain stuck because they're surrounded by individuals who are comfortable being average, afraid of change, or threatened by ambition. And when you're constantly around that kind of energy, it becomes easy to question yourself. You start lowering your goals just to fit in. You stop talking about your ideas because no one takes them seriously. You hesitate to change because no one else around you is growing. That silent pressure to conform is one of the biggest killers of progress. Choosing to surround yourself with uplifting people isn't about pretending that life is always positive. It's about being around people who face reality with strength, who face setbacks with dignity, and who keep pushing themselves even when it's hard. These people inspire you by the way they live, not just by what they say. Being around them doesn't exhaust you, it expands you. After talking with them, you don't feel judged or misunderstood. You feel seen and encouraged. But to attract people like that, you first need to become someone who lifts others too. If you carry bitterness, jealousy, or negativity, you'll push away those who are on a higher path. You can't demand positivity while feeding off drama. You can't expect support while criticizing others behind their backs. To find people who elevate you, you must walk the same path. Work on your attitude, speak with honesty, respect other people's efforts, celebrate their wins, bring the kind of energy you hope to receive. Sometimes, choosing better company means making hard decisions. It means distancing yourself from those who keep you small, even if they've been part of your life for a long time. This doesn't mean you stop caring about them. It means you stop letting their fear or doubt influence your choices. You can love someone and still recognize that they are not good for your mental or emotional health. Holding on to relationships just because they're familiar can keep you from becoming who you're meant to be. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. If you consistently feel drained, belittled, anxious, or dismissed, that is not love. That is not friendship. That is not support. Real connections leave you feeling stronger, not weaker. They challenge you in healthy ways, not manipulative ones. They hold you accountable but never make you feel ashamed of your dreams or efforts. This doesn't mean the right people always agree with you or praise everything you do. In fact, uplifting people are often the ones who will tell you the hard truths. But with care and clarity, they want you to succeed, not just feel good temporarily. They will point out your blind spots, not to shame you, but to help you grow. They're not interested in flattery. They're committed to honesty and encouragement. And that's exactly the kind of feedback you need when you're serious about raising your standards. To build a life surrounded by people who uplift you, start by becoming more intentional with your time. Stop spending hours with people out of obligation or guilt. Start investing that time into people who value you, people who listen, people who share your hunger for progress. Look for environments that promote growth. Study groups, mentorship programs, fitness communities, creative networks, volunteer teams. Put yourself where positive energy flows naturally. You don't need a crowd. Even one solid connection can change your entire perspective. In conversations, pay attention to the topics that dominate. Are you mostly talking about problems, gossip, or complaints? Or are you discussing ideas, solutions, and goals? What you talk about often reflects what you prioritize. The people who lift you up are usually the ones who help you shift your attention from problems to progress. They don't allow you to stay stuck in your excuses. They push you to remember your strength. Another key factor is learning to let go of approval. Sometimes the fear of being judged or abandoned keeps people clinging to low-energy relationships. But the truth is, when you raise your standards, some people will leave, and that's okay. Growth often requires separation. You weren't born to stay the same just to keep others comfortable. The people meant to be in your life will respect your growth. They won't guilt you for changing. They'll grow with you or gracefully step aside. There's also great power in silence and solitude. Not every season will be full of close connections, and that's fine. If you're in a phase where you're letting go of the wrong people but haven't yet found the right ones, use that space wisely. Work on yourself. Read more. Reflect deeply. Strengthen your values. Develop your own identity so you're not looking for validation from others. When you're whole within, you naturally draw better people into your life. Boundaries are part of surrounding yourself with the right people. If someone constantly crosses your limits, drains your peace, or makes you doubt yourself, setting boundaries is an act of protection. You don't need to explain or justify your decisions endlessly. Simply being firm and clear is enough. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from. Don't compromise your standards just to maintain a relationship that no longer serves you. As your circle changes, your mindset expands. You start seeing possibilities you never saw before. You begin to believe in goals that once felt out of reach. That's the power of being around people who want more for themselves and want the same for you. Their presence alone reminds you that higher standards are possible. Their discipline becomes contagious. Their consistency motivates you to stay on track. Keep in mind that not everyone who uplifts you needs to be physically close. You can learn from people through books, videos, podcasts, or online communities. What matters is the energy you absorb and the examples you follow. Fill your mind with voices that remind you of your worth, your strength, and your responsibility to live with purpose. And always remember, you deserve to be surrounded by people who want to see you win. People who don't mock your effort. People who don't compete with your progress. People who aren't intimidated by your ambition. You deserve conversations that leave you thinking, not doubting. You deserve relationships that build, not break. When you make this your standard, everything in your life becomes lighter, clearer, and stronger. You have the power to choose your influences. You don't owe anyone access to your peace, your focus, or your energy. Use that power wisely. Audit your circle. Decide who stays and who steps back. Do this not from ego, but from self-respect. Your time and energy are limited, and the people you share them with should reflect the direction you want to go. As you grow, so will your standards for connection. And with those higher standards, you'll attract people who are walking their own path of growth, people who understand your journey without needing to be told. That kind of alignment doesn't just feel good, it changes everything, because once you're surrounded by the right energy, you stop questioning your worth and start rising into it. Chapter 5. Challenge your fears. By taking consistent, purposeful action. Fear grows stronger the longer you wait. It feeds off hesitation, thrives in silence, and multiplies every time you back down from the thing you know you need to face. It doesn't disappear on its own. It doesn't shrink with time. You can't outthink it, outrun it, or pretend it's not there. The only way to challenge fear is to confront it head-on with action that has purpose behind it. Not random effort, not forced bravery, but deliberate, consistent movement toward the thing that scares you, because deep down you know it matters. When you wait for the fear to vanish before taking action, you stay stuck. You keep spinning in your thoughts. You analyze, you delay, you find reasons to postpone, you convince yourself that maybe you're not ready, maybe the timing isn't right, maybe it's safer to stay where you are. But comfort rarely leads to anything meaningful. Growth is uncomfortable, progress stings a little, and facing fear always comes with discomfort, but that discomfort is what pushes you forward. You don't have to take a giant leap. You don't need to be completely fearless. What you need is to take one step that moves you closer to the thing you're avoiding, then take another and another. When you commit to showing up, even when your hands are shaking, even when your heart is pounding, even when your thoughts are screaming at you to turn back, that's when things begin to shift. You don't have to eliminate fear to move forward. You just need to stop letting it decide what you do. Fear often shows up as resistance. You'll feel it when you sit down to write, to speak up, to apply for something you want, to make a big decision, to say yes to an opportunity, to say no to something draining. That tight feeling in your chest, that voice in your head saying, "What if I fail?" or "What will they think?" That's the threshold. That's the line between who you are now and who you could become. If you don't cross it, you stay the same. If you take action, even with fear in your throat, you begin to transform. The key is not to wait until you feel confident. That's where most people go wrong. They think courage comes first. But it doesn't. Action creates confidence. Action builds belief. When you do something small but meaningful, your brain starts to recognize that fear doesn't control you. You begin to prove to yourself that you are capable, and that proof compounds over time. It doesn't matter how tiny the action is. What matters is that you take it again and again on purpose. Purpose matters because it gives the fear context. You're not just doing something scary for the sake of discomfort. You're doing it because it moves your life forward. You're doing it because it brings you closer to who you want to be. When your actions are tied to a clear reason, fear starts to lose its power. You're not just surviving it, you're using it. You're turning anxiety into fuel. You're stepping into discomfort with intention. That shift in mindset changes everything. And yes, you will still feel afraid. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're growing. Fear doesn't always disappear just because you're doing the right thing. It lingers. It whispers. But with each action you take, it becomes quieter. What used to paralyze you becomes manageable. What once felt impossible starts to feel familiar. And before you know it, the thing that used to control you becomes part of your routine. That's the power of consistency. If you want to challenge fear, you must commit to showing up regularly, not just when it's convenient, not just when you're motivated, not just when the stars align. The people who grow fast are the ones who take small purposeful action every day, even when they don't feel like it, even when they're tired, even when they're unsure, because they know that discipline overrules emotion and repetition breaks the illusion that fear is bigger than it is. It also helps to talk to yourself differently. Fear becomes heavier when you fuel it with negative thoughts. If you constantly say, "I can't do this," or "What if I fail?" or "This is too much," you make the fear seem even more real. Start shifting your language. Tell yourself, this is hard, but I can handle it. Or, it's okay to feel nervous. Or, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. That kind of internal dialogue gives you room to breathe. It helps you move even with fear present. Another important piece is breaking down what you're afraid of. Don't just say, I'm scared. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid will happen? Will I be judged? Will I make a mistake? Will someone reject me? Will I look foolish? Write it down. Make it specific, then ask, if that fear came true, could I survive it? What would I do next? How would I recover? Most of the time, the worst-case scenario isn't as bad as your mind makes it out to be. Once you face it on paper, it loses some of its power over you. You also have to stop expecting to feel ready. Readiness is a myth. If you wait for the perfect moment when you're completely prepared, you'll wait forever. Real growth happens when you act before you feel fully ready. That's when the breakthrough happens. That's when you surprise yourself. That's when you realize you've always been more capable than you gave yourself credit for. Waiting only makes the fear louder. Doing makes the fear shrink. You're not weak for being afraid. You're not broken. Fear is part of being human. But letting fear run your life is a choice, and it's a choice you don't have to keep making. You don't need to overhaul your entire world in one day. You just need to build a pattern. Choose one thing that scares you but matters to you, and do something small toward it every single day. Not for approval, not for applause, but for yourself. Because the version of you on the other side of fear, the version who shows up consistently, who doesn't quit when it's hard, who learns through discomfort, who builds momentum, is the version who builds a life they're proud of. That version isn't fearless. They're just no longer controlled by fear. They feel it, acknowledge it, and keep moving. And that's all you have to do. Keep moving. Take the step. Make the call. Send the message. Sign up. Speak up. Follow through. Not when it feels easy, but especially when it doesn't. That's where the change begins. Fear may not disappear right away, but you will grow stronger, bolder, and more resilient with every step forward. And over time, fear will no longer be the thing that holds you back. It will be the thing that reminds you you're doing something that matters. Chapter 6. Prioritize health and wellness to fuel lasting growth. If your body is drained, your mind struggles to keep up. If you're constantly tired, in pain, or running on empty, it becomes harder to think clearly, stay motivated, or follow through on anything meaningful. You can't build a strong life on a weak foundation, and that foundation begins with your health. When you make your well-being a priority, everything else becomes easier to manage. You start each day with more clarity, more energy, and more control. You become less reactive, more focused, and far more capable of handling stress, pressure, and uncertainty. You don't need to become obsessed with perfect health to make a meaningful difference. It's not about rigid routines or unrealistic goals. It's about becoming honest with yourself about how you feel, how you're functioning, and what you've been neglecting. Most people know what they need to change, but they ignore the signals. They push through the fatigue. They mask the discomfort. They tell themselves they'll deal with it later, and then weeks, months, even years go by, and they wonder why they feel stuck, drained, or disconnected from themselves. The truth is, lasting change isn't possible when your body is constantly in survival mode. You need nourishment, movement, rest, and recovery. You need time away from screens, time spent outdoors, time where your mind can quiet down. You need to hydrate, stretch, breathe, and sleep without guilt. When you treat your body with care, You begin to think differently, your mood improves, your focus sharpens, you become more resilient, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Start with the basics. Look at how you're sleeping, not just how many hours but the quality. Do you wake up tired, even after a full night's rest? Are you scrolling late into the night, overstimulated when you should be winding down? That alone can shift your entire day. Fixing your sleep may not seem like a big deal, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your growth. When you're rested, you make better decisions. You respond instead of reacting. You have the strength to do the hard things instead of avoiding them. Then look at how you're eating. Not in terms of dieting or restricting, but in terms of whether you're giving your body fuel that actually supports you. Are you constantly snacking on things that leave you feeling sluggish, foggy, or bloated? Are you skipping meals, drinking too much caffeine to stay alert, and ignoring hunger signals? Your energy doesn't come from motivation, it comes from what you feed yourself. And if you're running on sugar, processed food, or skipping nutrients, no amount of willpower will save you from the crash that follows. Add more of what supports your system, instead of focusing only on removing what doesn't. Whole foods, clean water, protein, healthy fats, fiber. These aren't buzzwords. They're what allow your brain and body to function at full capacity. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight, but you do need to start paying attention to what's helping and what's harming you. Small, consistent improvements create momentum that leads to bigger shifts, and once you start feeling the difference, it becomes easier to stay on track. Movement is another non-negotiable. You don't need to be in the gym for hours. You don't need to become a fitness expert. You just need to move your body every day in ways that wake you up, open you up, and release what's been stuck. Sitting for hours on end kills your energy. It creates tension, tightness, and stagnation in your system. Movement clears that out. It boosts your mood, increases circulation, helps your digestion, and sharpens your mind. Even 10 minutes a day makes a difference. A walk, a stretch, a short workout, whatever gets your blood flowing matters more than how long or intense it is. Don't forget about your mental and emotional health. What you consume mentally has just as much impact as what you eat. Are you constantly taking in noise, negativity, and drama? Are you doom scrolling, watching content that leaves you anxious, comparing yourself to others, or stuck in thought loops that wear you down? You need to protect your mental space the same way you protect your body. That means setting boundaries around what you let in. That means creating moments of stillness, unplugging regularly, and being intentional about the kind of content, conversations, and environments you surround yourself with. It also means listening to yourself more deeply. What's your body telling you? Are you ignoring signals of stress, burnout, or imbalance? Are you pushing through pain instead of addressing it? Are you numbing emotions with distractions instead of dealing with what's really going on? Growth doesn't happen when you avoid discomfort. It happens when you become aware of what you've been neglecting and make the choice to care for yourself differently. That kind of self-respect creates momentum. Taking care of your health isn't selfish, it's essential. You can't show up fully for your goals, your relationships, or your purpose if you're constantly exhausted, inflamed, or overwhelmed. Prioritizing wellness gives you the strength to build something sustainable. It's not just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. You get more done when you feel good. You communicate better when you're clear-headed. You make smarter choices when your body isn't dragging you down. One of the most powerful things you can do for your personal growth is to schedule time to care for yourself like it's a non-negotiable meeting. Don't wait until you burn out. Don't wait until your body forces you to stop. Build wellness into your daily structure. Make space for meals that fuel you, movement that energizes you, rest that restores you, and habits that keep you steady. Health doesn't happen by accident. It's created by how you show up for yourself day after day. And if you've fallen off track, that doesn't mean you've failed. You're not behind. You just need to reconnect to what matters. You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You don't need to follow a strict plan or change everything overnight. You just need to start small. Stay consistent and be honest about what's been holding you back. Your body is always talking to you. Your mind is always signaling when it's overloaded. Listen, respond, adjust. The better you care for yourself, the easier it becomes to grow in other areas of life. You don't have to push through burnout to succeed. You don't need to sacrifice your well-being to be productive. In fact, the more you prioritize wellness, the more energy you have for everything else. You'll notice it in your mood, your motivation, your patience, your creativity. You'll feel it in the way you show up in conversations, in your work, in your daily choices. This is how lasting growth happens, not by forcing yourself through chaos, but by building a life where you're supported from the inside out. When your health becomes a foundation instead of an afterthought, you unlock a level of strength and clarity that allows everything else to rise with it. Make that shift, and everything changes. Chapter 7. Cultivate gratitude to shift your perspective toward positivity. Most people are trained to focus on what's missing, what's wrong, and what hasn't worked out. It becomes second nature to complain, to compare, or to dwell on disappointments. The human mind is wired to scan for threats, for risks, for problems to solve. But if you let that pattern run unchecked, it takes over your perspective. You start to believe life is always against you. You expect things to go wrong. You lose sight of the good that's already present because you're constantly looking for what's broken. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a powerful shift in how you see your life and how you respond to it. And that shift can change everything. When you start practicing gratitude, you're not denying reality. You're not pretending everything's perfect. You're making the choice to notice what's working instead of only fixating on what's not. You're recognizing the parts of your life that deserve appreciation, even when things feel hard. And when you train your brain to see value in the small moments, the energy you bring to the big ones changes too. You stop chasing happiness and start creating it. The real power of gratitude shows up when you apply it in moments you wouldn't expect. When something goes wrong, and you still find something to be thankful for. When plans fall apart, but you notice what you've learned. When someone disappoints you, but you still find clarity in the experience. Gratitude in easy times is comfortable. Gratitude in difficult times is transformational. It takes strength to look at pain and still find something to appreciate. That strength builds emotional resilience. It helps you bounce back faster. It helps you stay grounded when everything feels uncertain. You can start by noticing one thing each day that you often take for granted: the ability to breathe deeply. A good meal, a moment of silence, a warm conversation, a lesson that came from a struggle, the roof over your head, the fact that you've made it through every hard day so far. These may sound simple, but when you bring your full attention to them, they shift your emotional state. They interrupt the spiral of negativity. They remind you that not everything is falling apart. They help you focus your energy on what you can build instead of what you've lost. It's not about writing a list just to say you did it. It's about actually feeling the emotion that comes with appreciation. Gratitude that stays in your head is weak. Gratitude that reaches your heart is powerful. It softens anger. It dissolves envy. It removes bitterness. You can't be deeply grateful and simultaneously resentful. You can't hold appreciation and entitlement in the same space. You have to choose which one you're going to let guide your thinking, and the more often you choose gratitude, the more natural it becomes. This practice doesn't take much time, but it requires attention. Most people move through their days on autopilot, barely noticing the details. Gratitude demands you slow down, even briefly, to take in what's around you. When you do that, your entire perspective begins to shift. You stop expecting life to meet you with perfection. You start meeting life with presence. That change alone can make you more patient, more joyful, more compassionate toward others. When you feel overwhelmed, gratitude brings you back to center. When you're discouraged, it reminds you that progress is still happening, even if it's not obvious. When you're frustrated, it gives you space to breathe and reflect instead of reacting impulsively. It doesn't remove pain, but it gives you the strength to move through it without letting it consume you. You'll notice that grateful people are not naive. They're not the ones pretending everything is okay. They're the ones who've learned how to find peace within chaos. They're grounded because they've made peace with what they can't control. They've stopped waiting for life to be perfect before they allow themselves to feel joy. And because of that, they create momentum. They attract better energy. They build stronger relationships. They make wiser decisions because they're not operating from fear or lack. If you're always looking for what's missing, you'll never feel like what you have is enough. No amount of success, validation, or achievement will satisfy you. You'll keep chasing more, thinking happiness is always one step ahead. But when you anchor yourself in gratitude, you realize how much is already available to you. You stop running from the present moment. You start using it as a foundation for growth. It's not always easy, especially if you've been through pain, disappointment, or trauma. But even in those experiences, there are lessons, growth, and deeper self-awareness. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending something didn't hurt. It means choosing not to let that hurt define your entire worldview. It means giving yourself the gift of perspective. You can carry the pain and still appreciate the strength it gave you. You can grieve and still be thankful for the memories. You can struggle and still acknowledge the people who stood by you. Make it a daily habit. Not just something you do when you feel good, but something you do regardless of how your day is going. Keep a journal, speak it aloud, text someone and thank them. Reflect before bed. Start your morning with a few quiet thoughts of appreciation. Over time, this small act creates a powerful change in your emotional baseline. You become less reactive, more grounded, and more tuned into the good that's already around you. You'll also notice your relationship improve. Gratitude makes you a better communicator. You become more generous with your words. You stop taking people for granted. You recognize their efforts. You express appreciation instead of only criticism. That kind of energy is contagious. It deepens trust, strengthens connection, and reduces unnecessary tension. Most importantly, gratitude helps you reconnect with yourself. When you pause to appreciate your journey, you start recognizing how far you've come. You stop measuring your worth by how much you've accomplished, and start honoring the growth you've experienced. You begin to see your own efforts with more kindness. That shift matters, because the relationship you have with yourself influences every part of your life. You won't always feel like practicing gratitude. There will be days where you're frustrated, tired, or discouraged. But that's exactly when it matters most. Gratitude is a discipline, not a mood. You do it because it shapes how you think, and how you think shapes how you live. The more you choose gratitude, the more you train your mind to find the good, not to ignore reality, but to build the strength to face it with clarity and calm. Every day offers something to be grateful for, and the more you train your eyes to see it, the more peace you'll carry with you. Gratitude isn't just a mindset, it's a way of seeing the world that keeps you rooted in what matters. It's a quiet strength that helps you move through life with more grace, more presence, and more light. Let that be the energy you carry forward. Chapter 8. Learn from failures and turn them into opportunities. Failure doesn't feel good when it happens. It's uncomfortable, discouraging, and often deeply personal. It can shake your confidence, make you question your path, and even push you to consider giving up. But what if the failure wasn't the end? What if it was actually the beginning of something more powerful? Something that could never happen if you hadn't failed in the first place. Most people look at failure as a final judgment. They take it personally. They think it means they weren't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. But failure isn't the end of the road. It's feedback. It's a signal. It's information that can help you grow if you're willing to face it with honesty and courage. When you look closely at the people who have achieved real success in life, not just money or recognition, but personal fulfillment, you'll notice something in common. They've all failed, and not just once. They've failed repeatedly. They've tried things that didn't work. They've made decisions that backfired. They've taken risks and fallen flat. But what separates them from others is what they did next. They didn't retreat. They didn't let the failure define their identity. They studied it. They learned from it. They used it as a stepping stone instead of a wall. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be willing to examine your mistakes without letting shame cloud your thinking. You need to be honest about what didn't work, but also compassionate toward yourself in the process. It's easy to blame yourself when something falls apart. It's easy to replay the moment over and over and think, if only I had done this differently. But growth doesn't come from beating yourself up. It comes from taking full responsibility and then deciding how to move forward with more clarity. Some of your most powerful lessons will come from the things that didn't go your way. A failed relationship can teach you how to communicate better or choose more wisely next time. A business setback can reveal where your strategy needs to improve. A rejection can push you to develop new skills you would have never considered. None of these lessons feel pleasant in the moment, but when you look back, they often become turning points. They force you to grow in ways you never would if everything had gone smoothly. Failure also helps you get clearer about what you really want. Sometimes you pursue something for the wrong reasons, maybe for approval, validation, or comfort, and when it fails, it wakes you up. It makes you ask deeper questions. It gives you a chance to pause and reevaluate. That process, though painful, can lead to a more aligned path. Sometimes failure strips away the noise and brings you face to face with your real values. That's not something to avoid. That's something to embrace. It's also important to remember that failure isn't personal. It's not an attack on who you are. It's simply an outcome that didn't meet your expectation. You can change your outcome by changing your approach. But if you let failure attack your identity, you lose your ability to try again. You stop taking risks. You stop putting yourself in situations where growth is possible. And that's when failure becomes permanent. Not because you weren't capable, but because you stopped moving. Your progress is built on trial and error. Nobody gets it right the first time, every time, and even when they do, success without struggle rarely builds character. It doesn't teach resilience. It doesn't deepen your understanding, but when you've been knocked down and stood back up, you gain a strength that no one can take from you. That strength doesn't come from books or courses. It comes from real experience, when things didn't go as planned, and you still chose to keep going. To turn failure into opportunity, you have to get curious. What exactly went wrong? Where did you ignore the warning signs? What could you have prepared for better? Where did emotion override logic? What lesson is trying to show itself through this situation? These questions don't make the pain disappear, but they give it purpose. They help you grow instead of getting stuck. They keep your energy focused on improvement instead of regret. It's also useful to reflect on how failure humbles you in a way that success never can. It makes you more compassionate toward others. It removes arrogance. It teaches you that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It reminds you that no matter how hard you try, life will still throw challenges your way, and your job isn't to avoid them, but to respond to them with strength and wisdom. That mindset changes how you face your next challenge. You stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the path. People who never fail are usually the ones who never try. They play it safe. They stay in their comfort zone, and while that might protect them from disappointment, it also keeps them from growth. They miss out on the deeper kind of confidence that comes from facing something hard and coming out stronger on the other side. If you want that kind of confidence, you have to be willing to face failure head-on, not as an enemy but as a teacher. You don't need to bounce back immediately. Sometimes failure stings. Sometimes it takes time to process. But don't stay stuck there. Don't turn a single failure into a lifelong identity. Don't let it make you afraid of trying again. Let it shape you. Let it guide you. Let it give you insight that no success ever could. And then, when you're ready, step forward with the knowledge you've gained. Failure isn't about falling short. It's about discovering what you're truly capable of when things don't go according to plan. It's about finding new ways to approach old problems. It's about realizing that your worth isn't tied to your outcomes. It's tied to your persistence, your attitude, and your willingness to adapt. Use each setback as fuel. Use it to refine your process, strengthen your mindset, and deepen your purpose. The moment you decide to learn from it, failure loses its power to define you. It becomes part of your story, not the end of it, but a critical chapter that helped shape who you're becoming. Every time you get back up, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And that experience makes you wiser, more focused, and more capable than before. So keep moving, keep learning, keep growing. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the same process. And if you stay committed to the process, you'll find the opportunities that were hiding inside your setbacks all along. Chapter 9. Practice self-reflection to understand your strengths and weaknesses. Most people go through life reacting. They respond to situations, emotions, and people without taking time to understand why they think, feel, or behave the way they do. They stay busy, distracted, or overwhelmed, and avoid the quiet moments that reveal who they really are. But without reflection, there's no real growth. You might improve a few habits or adjust some behaviors, but if you don't know what's driving you underneath it all, you'll keep repeating the same patterns. Self-reflection is how you take a step back and ask the questions that matter. It's how you break free from autopilot and become intentional with your choices. When you reflect honestly, you learn to see yourself without judgment. You stop performing for others. You stop chasing things just because you think you're supposed to. You look at your actions, your thoughts, your relationships, and your responses, and ask yourself where they're coming from. Are they based on fear or strength? Are you acting out of habit or clarity? Are you trying to prove something or pursue something meaningful? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they're necessary because you can't change what you refuse to confront. Self-reflection helps you understand your strengths. Not just what you're good at, but what energizes you, what makes you feel alive, what comes naturally, even in pressure. What do people consistently come to you for help with? These clues matter. When you know your strengths, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop trying to be someone else. You lean into what makes you valuable in your own way, and when you're aligned with those strengths, you operate from a place of confidence, not because you're perfect, but because you're grounded in what you know works for you. But reflection also reveals your weaknesses, and this is where most people stop. They don't want to face their flaws, blind spots, or limitations. It's easier to pretend everything's fine than admit where they fall short. But the truth is, acknowledging your weaknesses doesn't make you weak. It makes you responsible. It shows that you're self-aware enough to notice where you need to grow and disciplined enough to do something about it. And often the very areas you struggle in are connected to your biggest breakthroughs, if you're honest enough to work on them. When you take time to reflect, you get perspective. You start seeing how certain beliefs have been controlling you without you realizing it. Maybe you've been holding on to an old fear of rejection, and that's why you avoid taking risks. Maybe you learned early on that failure equals shame, and that's why you don't allow yourself to try new things. Or maybe you've been trying to please everyone for years, and it's draining your energy and joy. These patterns don't break by themselves. You have to notice them, and once you do, you get the chance to replace them with something stronger. Another benefit of reflection is learning how you've changed. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, but if you don't pause and recognize that, you might still live like you are. You might still follow goals that no longer matter, hold on to relationships that no longer serve you, or measure success by standards that don't fit your life anymore. Growth requires you to update your inner understanding of yourself. You need to check in with who you are now, not who you were in the past. Otherwise, you end up out of sync with your own evolution. Self-reflection also helps you become emotionally intelligent. You notice what triggers you. You understand what brings out the best in you and what brings out the worst. You become less reactive and more intentional. Instead of blaming others or external events, you start asking, what part of me needs attention right now? That one shift from blaming to understanding can change everything. It can improve your relationships, your focus, your peace of mind, and your decision-making. It can help you stop repeating cycles that have been draining you for years. Sometimes you'll reflect and find things you're proud of. Moments when you handled something better than expected, decisions you made from courage, or progress you didn't give yourself credit for. And that's important too. Self-reflection isn't just about fixing what's wrong. It's about honoring what's right. It's about acknowledging how far you've come, even if you're not where you want to be yet. That balance of celebrating strengths and admitting weaknesses is what creates a mature and grounded sense of self. To make reflection a habit, you don't need hours of solitude. You need a few minutes of quiet each day. Time to sit with your thoughts. Time to ask questions like, what went well today? What did I struggle with? What could I have done differently? What lesson showed up that I didn't expect? What am I avoiding that I need to face? These small moments of honesty can guide your next steps better than any outside advice, because no one knows your life like you do. No one knows the real reasons behind your choices like you do, but you only tap into that wisdom when you slow down and listen. Reflection isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. You're not trying to become flawless. You're trying to become real, to live from a place of clarity, to move forward with your eyes open, and the more you practice it, the more confident you become. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to ask the right questions. You also become more patient with yourself. You realize that growth takes time, that change is messy, and that understanding yourself is a lifelong journey. You stop expecting overnight transformation. You give yourself grace, and from that space, you make better decisions, not rushed by pressure, but grounded in who you're becoming. The people who grow the most are the ones who pay attention. They notice their patterns. They learn from their mistakes. They stay curious about their motivations. And they never stop asking, what is this teaching me about myself? That question is more powerful than it seems, because it keeps you in learning mode. It keeps you moving, and it ensures that no experience, good or bad, is wasted. Self-reflection puts you in control of your story. You stop living by default and start choosing with purpose. You stop repeating cycles and start rewriting them. You stop guessing who you are and start discovering it. Layer by layer, and the more you understand yourself, the better equipped you are to build a life that truly reflects your values, your strengths, and your deepest intentions. Chapter 10. Build resilience by embracing discomfort and pushing limits. Most people want strength, but few are willing to go through what it takes to build it. Real strength isn't built during peaceful moments. It's developed in the middle of pressure, setbacks, and situations that stretch your capacity. When you go through challenges, you either become tougher or you give up, and that choice defines your resilience. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about facing the pain, learning from it, and continuing anyway. It's about choosing to grow, even when it hurts, even when it's slow, even when no one else is cheering you on. Discomfort is part of any meaningful growth. If everything you do feels easy, you're staying in the same place. You don't expand by repeating what's already comfortable. You stretch when you go further than what feels safe. That moment when your legs burn in the gym, or when you speak up in a room that intimidates you, or when you make a decision that scares you because you know it's right, that's when you change. Not instantly, but gradually. You build layers of mental toughness every time you do something that challenges you. Avoiding discomfort only postpones your potential. You can spend years running from fear, sidestepping effort, or waiting for the perfect moment. But the truth is, discomfort will find you anyway, through change, through loss, through failure. If you haven't built resilience, those moments will break you. But if you've trained yourself to face what's difficult, those same moments will shape you into someone who doesn't fold under pressure. Someone who adapts instead of crumbles. Someone who bends but doesn't break. Pushing your limits doesn't mean chasing burnout or being reckless. It means doing more than what your old self thought was possible. It means staying in the workout 5 minutes longer. It means sticking with the habit when motivation disappears. It means staying committed when no one's watching. It means refusing to quit just because progress is slower than expected. These small decisions compound over time. Each one adds to your internal strength, even when no one notices, especially when no one notices. One of the biggest lies people believe is that they need to feel ready before they start something hard. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move anyway. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. The more you do, the more you realize you can handle. That's how you grow your limits. By doing the thing you thought you couldn't, again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Resilience is also about how you respond when things go wrong. You can't control everything. Life will challenge you in ways you didn't expect. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. But when you've built inner strength, you don't collapse under that pressure. You pause, you regroup, you adapt. You figure out what's next, even when the path isn't clear. That ability to get back up after life knocks you down isn't something you're born with. It's something you build by facing small challenges on purpose. Every time you embrace discomfort, you gain clarity. You learn what you're made of. You realize that most of your fears were just thoughts, not truth. You stop overthinking and start moving. You stop making excuses and start showing up. And when you start showing up, everything in your life begins to shift. You gain momentum. You develop grit. You earn self-respect. That's something nobody can give you. You have to earn it through effort and repetition. Some days will feel like progress. Others will feel like struggle. But every day you stay consistent, you reinforce the message that you are capable of handling more. You stop being surprised by difficulty and start welcoming it. You understand that hard times are training you for the next level. They're sculpting you into someone who doesn't fold when it matters. Someone who's calm under pressure because they've trained their mind and body to endure discomfort. When you commit to pushing your limits, you also redefine what's possible for your future. You stop making decisions based on fear. You start acting based on potential. You're no longer the person who stays quiet to avoid judgment or who quits early to avoid failure. You're the one who keeps going because you've learned how to endure, and because of that, you unlock opportunities that most people never reach, not because they're not talented, but because they stop when it gets hard. You also build respect for yourself in a way that feels solid, not the kind of confidence that fades when circumstances change, but the kind that stays with you because it's based on action. You've seen yourself overcome challenges. You've watched yourself stay disciplined. You've experienced what it feels like to persist when every part of you wanted to quit. That memory becomes your proof, and that proof becomes your fuel. Resilience doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you never stop growing. It means you choose courage over comfort, effort over ease, purpose over excuses. You don't wait for motivation. You move through resistance. You don't give up at the first sign of difficulty. You lean into it because you know that's where your next breakthrough lives. You keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because you know who you're becoming is worth the pain. In the process of embracing discomfort, you find your edge. You figure out where your limits used to be. And then you go a little further. You start to enjoy the challenge. Not because it feels good, but because you know it's working. You learn to trust the process, even when results are slow. You understand that every effort counts, even the ones no one sees, and you learn that the pain of growth is far better than the regret of staying the same. Pushing your limits rewires how you think. You stop seeing obstacles as threats and start seeing them as training. You stop avoiding failure and start using it as feedback. You stop needing everything to go perfectly and start finding strength in adaptation. That shift changes your life. It makes you more flexible, more prepared, more confident in your ability to handle the unexpected. And here's the truth most people miss. The more you lean into discomfort, the more you build freedom. You're no longer trapped by fear. You're no longer a prisoner of your old limitations. You're no longer living at half your potential. You become the kind of person who takes control, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. That's what resilience looks like. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's steady, focused, and earned through discomfort repeated over time. Every challenge you face gives you a choice. Run from it or rise through it. If you choose the second, you grow, and if you do it often enough, you become someone unstoppable, not because life got lighter, but because you learned how to carry more. Chapter 11. Focus on progress over perfection in every area. Perfection is a trap. It tells you that nothing you do is good enough until it looks flawless, feels flawless, and comes without mistakes. That's the quickest way to lose momentum, motivation, and belief in yourself. Progress, on the other hand, is honest. It accepts your starting point, it honors your effort, it values direction more than speed. It focuses on growth rather than flawlessness. And that mindset, when you truly commit to it, can change how you show up for everything: your goals, your habits, your relationships, and your future. When you expect perfection, you set yourself up for constant frustration. Every misstep feels like failure. Every delay feels like a defeat. You begin to judge your worth by how well you perform instead of how far you've come. That pressure doesn't make you better. It paralyzes you. You hesitate. You procrastinate. You talk yourself out of trying because you're afraid it won't be perfect, and eventually you stop growing altogether. But if you shift your focus to progress, you free yourself to start where you are and improve step by step. Progress feels different. It's forgiving. It allows you to stumble without labeling you as a failure. It recognizes that you're human. It understands that growth takes time and consistency. When you focus on progress, you celebrate the small wins that used to go unnoticed. You begin to take pride in the fact that you showed up at all, even when it was hard. You start measuring success, not by perfection, but by movement. Did you show up today? Did you try again after yesterday didn't go as planned? Did you learn something? That's progress. This mindset shift also protects your energy. Instead of burning out trying to reach an imaginary standard, you learn to pace yourself. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions to begin. You realize that waiting for everything to be ideal is a form of resistance. It's fear in disguise. And the longer you wait, the further away your goal drifts. But when you take imperfect action, you build momentum. You gain confidence, not by thinking, but by doing. Perfection is about control. It's about trying to avoid criticism or discomfort. Progress is about courage. It means doing the work even when the results aren't guaranteed. It means taking the next step even when it's awkward, messy, or slow. And that's where true growth happens, in the attempts, not just the outcomes. Every time you make progress, even if it's small, you're building trust with yourself. You're showing yourself that you're capable, that you're learning, and that you're committed to something greater than your fears. This mindset also changes how you respond to challenges. When you're focused on perfection, failure feels like the end. You make a mistake, and it feels personal. You miss a goal, and you spiral. But when you're focused on progress, you see every setback as part of the process. You analyze instead of criticize. You adjust instead of retreating. You keep going, not because you never stumble, but because you've decided that forward is more important than flawless. In your daily life, this shows up in simple ways. You go for a walk, even if you don't feel like doing a full workout. You write one paragraph, even if the whole article feels out of reach. You have a hard conversation, even if you don't know exactly how to word it. These small actions add up. They might not be perfect, but they move you forward, and over time, Those imperfect steps become the foundation of something real, something you can be proud of. When you focus on progress, you also give yourself the freedom to grow at your own pace. You stop racing. You stop chasing unrealistic timelines. You start honoring the season you're in. Some days you'll move faster, other days will require more patience. But as long as you're moving, you're winning. That quiet consistency, even when no one sees it, is what transforms your life. Perfection often comes from fear, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. But progress comes from purpose. It asks you to show up with honesty, to put in the work without needing everything to be polished, to be okay with being a beginner, and to understand that mastery isn't built through perfect moments, it's built through persistence, through showing up day after day, getting better without needing to be the best. You also begin to develop more compassion for yourself and others. When you stop holding yourself to impossible standards, you stop holding other people to them too. You allow room for growth, for mistakes, for second chances. That shift deepens your relationships. It creates space for honesty, learning, and genuine connection. It removes the pressure to perform and replaces it with the freedom to improve. Over time, you'll realize that chasing perfection was only keeping you stuck. It gave you the illusion of progress while robbing you of real movement. Progress doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent. And once you fall in love with that process of getting better, learning, evolving, you'll stop needing instant results to validate your effort. There's a different kind of pride that comes from progress. It's not based on applause or approval. It's rooted in the quiet knowing that you kept going, that you didn't quit when it got hard, that you improved, little by little, because you believed in something bigger than perfection. And that kind of pride stays with you. It builds a quiet strength, a steady confidence that no one can take away. So, every time you're tempted to wait until you feel ready, or to quit because it's not flawless, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that every expert was once a beginner, that every strong person you admire has failed more times than you can count, that every step, even the awkward ones, are shaping you. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep going. That's enough. That's powerful. That's progress. Chapter 12. Create a daily routine that supports your highest goals. Your days shape your future, whether you realize it or not. Every choice you make in a single day creates the life you will live in the months and years to come. That's why having a strong daily routine isn't just a suggestion. It's a necessity if you truly want to live at your highest level. You can't expect to reach your biggest goals by living on autopilot. You need structure. You need intention. You need habits that reflect what you say matters to you. Otherwise, your days will be consumed by distractions, and your time will be controlled by everything except your purpose. A powerful routine doesn't happen by chance. It's created with clarity. You need to know what you're working toward. You need to understand what actions move you closer to your goals. Without that clarity, you'll fill your schedule with activity that keeps you busy but doesn't take you anywhere meaningful. You'll respond to whatever is loudest instead of choosing what matters most. That's how time slips away. That's how dreams get delayed. But when you get honest about your priorities and build your day around them, everything changes. Your routine is your real commitment. It shows what you value more than your words do. If you say health matters but skip movement every day, your body won't believe you. If you say you want success but spend your mornings scrolling aimlessly, your goals will remain out of reach. If you say growth is important but never make space to read, learn or reflect, you won't evolve. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Even small daily habits, when aligned with your goals, can change your entire direction over time. Start with your mornings. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start in chaos, the rest of the day feels reactive. If you begin with calm, focus, and purpose, you move through your day with more control. This doesn't require hours, it just requires intention. Get up early enough to avoid rushing. Spend a few quiet minutes alone before the noise of the world creeps in. Breathe. Move your body. Review your goals. Ask yourself what matters most today. These small acts create a powerful mindset that carries into every decision. Then look at how you spend your peak energy hours. Everyone has times of the day when their focus and energy are strongest. Use those hours for your most important work. Not for checking emails, not for busy work, but for the tasks that push you forward. Protect that time like it's sacred. Don't give it away to things that don't align with your bigger vision. If you use your best energy on things that don't matter, you'll never have enough left over for the things that do. Break your goals down into small daily actions. Big visions can feel overwhelming, but when you break them into repeatable steps and place them into your daily routine, they become manageable. Whether it's writing a few hundred words a day, making one meaningful connection, practicing a skill for 30 minutes, or setting aside focused time for strategy, these daily actions are how real transformation happens. Progress isn't made in dramatic leaps, it's built in quiet, consistent steps. Don't forget to schedule time for rest and reflection. A productive routine doesn't mean running yourself into the ground. It means using your time wisely and recovering well so you can sustain your effort. You can't show up at your best if you're constantly exhausted. You need sleep, you need breaks, you need time to think. Build space into your day for stillness. Even a few minutes of solitude can give you clarity and reset your perspective. As you build your routine, pay attention to what works and what doesn't. This is not about creating a rigid system that you force yourself into. It's about building a structure that supports you. If something isn't helping you grow, change it. If you notice certain habits drain your energy or waste your time, remove them. You're not locked into your current routine. You have the freedom to improve it at any time. What matters is that your routine is moving you in the direction you want to go. One of the most powerful benefits of a solid routine is that it removes the need for constant decision-making. When you know what you're going to do each day, you reduce mental friction. You don't have to negotiate with yourself every morning. You don't have to rely on motivation, which comes and goes. You just follow your plan. That kind of stability creates momentum, and momentum makes change feel easier. A great routine also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on your habits, you're proving to yourself that you mean what you say. You build integrity within your own mind. That creates self-confidence that no one can give you, and no one can take away. You start to see yourself as someone who gets things done. Someone who's not just dreaming but acting. Someone who has a clear mission and the discipline to walk it out. Even if you can't control everything in your life, you can still control how you structure your day. That power is always yours. No one else can create your routine for you. No one else can show up for your life the way you can. It's your responsibility, and it's your opportunity. If you've struggled with consistency before, don't let that stop you now. Start small. Build slowly. Focus on what's essential, and most importantly, don't wait. There will never be a perfect time. There is only now. Use it. Your daily routine should be a reflection of the person you want to become. It should support your mental health, fuel your physical strength, develop your skills, and move your mission forward. It should make space for growth, challenge, and stillness. It should feel clear, purposeful, and sustainable. And if it doesn't, don't settle. You don't have to live the same day over and over again. You can choose better, you can design better, and you can start today. Your highest goals are not reached in one leap. They're reached through 1,000 quiet steps, taken one day at a time. Your routine is the path. Walk it with purpose. Walk it with discipline. Walk it like your future depends on it, because it does. Chapter 13. Speak kindly to yourself and nurture self-respect. The voice inside your head shapes everything about your life. How you talk to yourself influences your confidence, your decisions, and even your resilience when things get tough. Most people don't realize just how powerful their inner dialogue is because it happens automatically. But if that voice is harsh, critical, or doubtful, it drags you down. It builds walls that keep you from taking risks or believing in your potential. Speaking kindly to yourself is not about ignoring your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about treating yourself with the same respect and compassion you would offer a close friend. Self-respect starts with the words you choose to say inside your mind. Negative self-talk chips away at your worth. It turns small mistakes into catastrophes and makes you focus on what you lack instead of what you have. But when you practice kindness toward yourself, you create a foundation of acceptance and strength. You acknowledge that you are human, capable, and worthy of patience even when you fall short. This shift isn't about lowering your standards. It's about building a supportive inner environment where growth can thrive without fear or shame. Changing your inner voice requires awareness. It's easy to let negative thoughts run unchecked because they feel automatic. The first step is to notice when your mind is being critical or harsh. Pay attention to your inner conversations throughout the day. Do you catch yourself saying things like, "I'm not good enough, I always mess up," or "I don't deserve success"? Those thoughts are not facts. They are habits, and habits can be changed. When you catch negative self-talk, pause and question it. Ask yourself if you would say that to someone you care about. If the answer is no, then don't say it to yourself either. Replacing negative thoughts with kind ones doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means speaking truths that empower rather than diminish. Instead of "I failed again," try "I'm learning and I will get better." Instead of "I'm not smart enough," try "I have the ability to grow and improve." These simple shifts gradually rewire your brain. They create new neural pathways that support confidence and resilience. And over time, you'll notice that your mindset changes naturally. You start expecting good things from yourself rather than fearing failure. Kind self-talk also helps reduce stress. When you criticize yourself, your body reacts as if it's under threat. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, and your mind floods with worry. But when you speak kindly to yourself, you send signals of safety and calm. You lower your stress response, which improves your ability to think clearly and make better decisions. This isn't just theory, it's backed by science. Compassionate self-talk boosts emotional regulation and strengthens your overall mental health. Nurturing self-respect goes beyond words. It shows up in your actions. How you treat your body, how you set boundaries, and how you honor your needs all reflect your level of self-respect. If you constantly neglect your well-being, tolerate disrespect from others, or push yourself beyond limits without rest, you are communicating to yourself that you're not worthy of care. On the other hand, choosing healthy foods, resting when needed, saying no to toxic situations, and investing time in what nourishes you are powerful ways to reinforce your value. Building self-respect requires patience. It's not an overnight transformation. Old patterns die hard, and society often teaches us to be our own worst critics. But every time you choose kindness over judgment, you break a cycle. Every time you stand up for yourself, even in small ways, you strengthen your sense of worth. You become less dependent on external approval because you've learned to approve of yourself first. When you speak kindly to yourself, you also become more forgiving. You accept that mistakes are part of growth. You don't punish yourself for setbacks or past failures. Instead, you treat yourself with understanding and encouragement. This attitude frees you from the paralyzing grip of perfectionism and fear. It opens the door to trying new things, taking risks, and embracing challenges. Self-respect gives you the courage to move forward, even when uncertainty looms. Another important aspect is learning to celebrate your strengths and successes without minimizing them. Many people struggle with acknowledging their accomplishments because they feel it's boastful or undeserved. But honoring your wins, no matter how small, reinforces your value and motivates you to keep going. It's not arrogance, it's recognition of your effort and growth. Speaking kindly to yourself means telling yourself the truth about your worthiness and progress. Self-respect also protects you from negative influences. When you have a strong inner foundation, you're less likely to let criticism or negativity from others affect your self-view. You set boundaries that keep you safe from harmful people or environments. You recognize when feedback is constructive and when it's destructive, and you don't accept treatment that undermines your dignity. This strength comes from the consistent practice of kindness inwardly that builds a shield around your confidence. To nurture this habit daily, start by creating simple rituals that remind you of your value. Write down positive affirmations that resonate with you and read them every morning. Keep a journal where you note moments when you showed kindness to yourself or succeeded despite challenges. Surround yourself with reminders of your progress and strengths. These small acts anchor your mind in kindness and respect even when life feels hard. If negative thoughts return, remember they are just thoughts, not commands. You can choose which ones to listen to. Practice pausing before responding to your inner voice. Take a deep breath and redirect your thoughts toward encouragement. With repetition, this becomes a natural reflex. Over time, the kind voice inside grows louder and more convincing than the critical one. You don't have to wait for others to respect you before you respect yourself. True self-respect begins internally and radiates outward. When you treat yourself with kindness, others will begin to see and treat you differently. Your relationships improve because you carry a sense of worth that demands respect. You model how you want to be treated. That changes the dynamics around you. Speaking kindly to yourself and nurturing self-respect is not indulgence or weakness. It is a powerful act of courage. It takes strength to face your flaws without hatred. It takes discipline to choose kindness when criticism is easier. And it takes wisdom to understand that how you treat yourself sets the tone for every part of your life. By committing to this practice, you're building a foundation for lasting growth and resilience. You become the person who lifts themselves up, instead of tearing themselves down. You create a mental environment where success is possible because you believe you deserve it. You learn to walk through life with grace, confidence, and peace. That is the true power of speaking kindly to yourself and nurturing self-respect. Chapter 14. Invest time in learning new skills and knowledge. The voice inside your head shapes everything about your life. How you talk to yourself influences your confidence, your decisions, and even your resilience when things get tough. Most people don't realize just how powerful their inner dialogue is because it happens automatically. But if that voice is harsh, critical, or doubtful, it drags you down. It builds walls that keep you from taking risks or believing in your potential. Speaking kindly to yourself is not about ignoring your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about treating yourself with the same respect and compassion you would offer a close friend. Self-respect starts with the words you choose to say inside your mind. Negative self-talk chips away at your worth. It turns small mistakes into catastrophes and makes you focus on what you lack instead of what you have. But when you practice kindness toward yourself, you create a foundation of acceptance and strength. You acknowledge that you are human, capable, and worthy of patience even when you fall short. This shift isn't about lowering your standards. It's about building a supportive inner environment where growth can thrive without fear or shame. Changing your inner voice requires awareness. It's easy to let negative thoughts run unchecked because they feel automatic. The first step is to notice when your mind is being critical or harsh. Pay attention to your inner conversations throughout the day. Do you catch yourself saying things like, "I'm not good enough," "I always mess up," or "I don't deserve success"? Those thoughts are not facts. They are habits, and habits can be changed. When you catch negative self-talk, pause and question it. Ask yourself if you would say that to someone you care about. If the answer is no, then don't say it to yourself either. Replacing negative thoughts with kind ones doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means speaking truths that empower rather than diminish. Instead of "I failed again," try "I'm learning and I will get better." Instead of "I'm not smart enough," try "I have the ability to grow and improve." These simple shifts gradually rewire your brain. They create new neural pathways that support confidence and resilience, and over time you'll notice that your mindset changes naturally. You start expecting good things from yourself rather than fearing failure. Kind self-talk also helps reduce stress. When you criticize yourself, your body reacts as if it's under threat. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, and your mind floods with worry. But when you speak kindly to yourself, you send signals of safety and calm. You lower your stress response, which improves your ability to think clearly and make better decisions. This isn't just theory, it's backed by science. Compassionate self-talk boosts emotional regulation and strengthens your overall mental health. Nurturing self-respect goes beyond words. It shows up in your actions. How you treat your body, how you set boundaries, and how you honor your needs all reflect your level of self-respect. If you constantly neglect your well-being, tolerate disrespect from others, or push yourself beyond limits without rest, you are communicating to yourself that you're not worthy of care. On the other hand, choosing healthy foods, resting when needed, saying no to toxic situations, and investing time in what nourishes you are powerful ways to reinforce your value. Building self-respect requires patience. It's not an overnight transformation. Old patterns die hard, and society often teaches us to be our own worst critics. But every time you choose kindness over judgment, you break a cycle. Every time you stand up for yourself, even in small ways, you strengthen your sense of worth. You become less dependent on external approval because you've learned to approve of yourself first. When you speak kindly to yourself, you also become more forgiving. You accept that mistakes are part of growth. You don't punish yourself for setbacks or past failures. Instead, you treat yourself with understanding and encouragement. This attitude frees you from the paralyzing grip of perfectionism and fear. It opens the door to trying new things, taking risks, and embracing challenges. Self-respect gives you the courage to move forward, even when uncertainty looms. Another important aspect is learning to celebrate your strengths and successes without minimizing them. Many people struggle with acknowledging their accomplishments because they feel it's boastful or undeserved. But honoring your wins, no matter how small, reinforces your value and motivates you to keep going. It's not arrogance, it's recognition of your effort and growth. Speaking kindly to yourself means telling yourself the truth about your worthiness and progress. Self-respect also protects you from negative influences. When you have a strong inner foundation, you're less likely to let criticism or negativity from others affect your self-view. You set boundaries that keep you safe from harmful people or environments. You recognize when feedback is constructive and when it's destructive, and you don't accept treatment that undermines your dignity. This strength comes from the consistent practice of kindness inwardly that builds a shield around your confidence. To nurture this habit daily, start by creating simple rituals that remind you of your value. Write down positive affirmations that resonate with you and read them every morning. Keep a journal where you note moments when you showed kindness to yourself or succeeded despite challenges. Surround yourself with reminders of your progress and strength. These small acts anchor your mind in kindness and respect even when life feels hard. If negative thoughts return, remember they are just thoughts, not commands. You can choose which ones to listen to. Practice pausing before responding to your inner voice. Take a deep breath and redirect your thoughts toward encouragement. With repetition, this becomes a natural reflex. Over time, the kind voice inside grows louder and more convincing than the critical one. You don't have to wait for others to respect you before you respect yourself. True self-respect begins internally and radiates outward. When you treat yourself with kindness, others will begin to see and treat you differently. Your relationships improve because you carry a sense of worth that demands respect. You model how you want to be treated. That changes the dynamics around you. Speaking kindly to yourself and nurturing self-respect is not indulgence or weakness. It is a powerful act of courage. It takes strength to face your flaws without hatred. It takes discipline to choose kindness when criticism is easier. And it takes wisdom to understand that how you treat yourself sets the tone for every part of your life. By committing to this practice, you're building a foundation for lasting growth and resilience. You become the person who lifts themselves up instead of tearing themselves down. You create a mental environment where success is possible because you believe you deserve it. You learn to walk through life with grace, confidence, and peace. That is the true power of speaking kindly to yourself and nurturing self-respect.
Chapter 15. Take responsibility for your choices and their outcomes.
Learning new skills and gaining knowledge are essential parts of growth. When you stop learning, you stop moving forward. The world changes fast, and staying stagnant means falling behind. Investing time in learning is not just about acquiring information, it's about building your capacity to handle new challenges, solve problems, and create opportunities. The more skills and knowledge you develop, the more confident and capable you become. This confidence is the foundation of progress and the gateway to new possibilities. Many people believe they are too busy to learn or that learning takes too long to matter. This mindset limits potential. The truth is, learning doesn't have to consume huge blocks of time or feel overwhelming. It can happen in small, consistent doses. Even dedicating 15 minutes a day to reading, practicing, or exploring a new topic creates momentum. That momentum builds over weeks and months, resulting in meaningful improvement that compounds silently in the background of your life. Approach learning with curiosity and an open mind. Don't focus only on what you already know or what feels comfortable. The greatest growth comes from pushing beyond your current skills and exploring unfamiliar areas. Whether it's mastering a new technology, developing better communication, improving emotional intelligence, or learning a craft, expanding your skill set opens doors that were previously closed. It also builds mental flexibility and adaptability, qualities essential for overcoming obstacles and seizing opportunities. Embrace the mindset of a beginner, even if you're experienced in other areas. Being a beginner means being willing to make mistakes and learn from them. It means understanding that mastery comes through repetition, patience, and persistence. Don't let pride or fear of failure keep you from starting something new. The most successful people are often those who continuously learn, fail, and try again. They see each setback as a lesson, not a defeat. Find ways to integrate learning into your daily routine. This could be through reading books, listening to podcasts, taking online courses, attending workshops, or practicing skills hands-on. The key is to make learning habitual rather than occasional. When you build it into your schedule, it becomes a natural part of your life instead of a task to be squeezed in. This steady approach keeps your mind sharp and your abilities growing. Learning also means being intentional about what you focus on. Not all knowledge is equally valuable. Prioritize skills and information that align with your goals and values. For example, if your goal is to improve your career, focus on skills that boost your performance or leadership. If your goal is to build better relationships, invest in emotional intelligence and communication. Clarity about your learning objectives helps you avoid distractions and wasted effort. Don't shy away from challenging material. Growth rarely happens in easy territory. When you wrestle with difficult concepts or new techniques, your brain creates stronger connections. This process builds problem-solving skills and confidence. It also teaches resilience, because learning tough subjects requires patience and persistence. Instead of avoiding difficulty, welcome it as a sign you're stretching and growing. Learning new skills can also spark creativity and innovation. Exposure to diverse ideas and perspectives broadens your thinking. You start connecting dots in new ways, which leads to fresh solutions and insights. This kind of mental expansion helps in all areas of life, from personal decisions to professional projects. The more you learn, the more ideas you generate, and the better you become at adapting to change. Surround yourself with people who support and challenge your learning journey. Being part of a community of learners creates accountability and motivation. You can share experiences, get feedback, and gain different perspectives. This network fuels your growth and helps you stay committed during times when learning feels tough or slow. It's also encouraging to see others pushing themselves, which reminds you that growth is a continuous journey. Remember that investing in learning is also investing in yourself. It sends a message that you value your potential and are willing to do what it takes to improve. This belief in yourself strengthens your commitment and creates a positive cycle. The more you learn, the more you believe in your ability to achieve your goals. The more you believe, the more effort you put in. And the more effort you put in, the more you grow. Keep track of your progress to stay motivated. Document what you learn and the skills you develop. Reflect on how new knowledge has helped you solve problems or make better decisions. Celebrate milestones, no matter how small. This practice reinforces your commitment and helps you see the cumulative impact of your efforts over time. Don't forget to apply what you learn. Knowledge without action has limited value. Practice new skills regularly. Experiment with new ideas. Teach others what you've learned. Application deepens understanding and turns theory into real-world ability. It also builds confidence because you see tangible results from your efforts. Avoid the trap of endless learning without action. Sometimes people collect information without moving forward because they fear failure or feel overwhelmed. Break this cycle by setting clear goals for how you will use your new knowledge. Commit to specific actions that turn learning into progress. Taking that step from knowledge to application is where real transformation happens. Stay humble in your learning journey. No matter how much you know, there is always more to discover. Humility keeps you open to new ideas and prevents complacency. It allows you to seek help when needed and to recognize that growth is lifelong. The most accomplished people embrace this truth and continue to learn well into their later years. Technology makes learning easier than ever, but it also creates distractions. Manage your learning environment to stay focused. Turn off notifications. Set dedicated time for study and choose high-quality resources. Quality beats quantity. A focused 30 minutes of learning is more valuable than hours spent passively scrolling through information. Learning new skills and knowledge is a powerful tool to raise your standards. It prepares you for bigger challenges, sharper decisions, and higher achievements. It strengthens your mind and broadens your perspective. When you invest in yourself this way, you build a foundation that supports lasting success and fulfillment. Make learning a daily priority and watch how your life transforms. Chapter 16. Visualize your success clearly and pursue it relentlessly. Success begins in the mind long before it appears in reality. Visualizing your success clearly is one of the most powerful tools you can use to guide your actions and maintain your focus. When you create a detailed mental image of what you want to achieve, you set a clear target for your efforts. This clarity sharpens your decisions, motivates you during difficult times, and aligns your energy with your goals. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is a deliberate act of training your mind to recognize possibilities and prepare for achievement. To visualize success effectively, you need to be specific. Vague goals create vague images, which don't inspire action. Picture your success in rich detail. Imagine what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. See yourself completing the tasks that lead to that success. Picture the environment, the people around you, and your own emotions. The more vivid the image, the stronger its impact on your subconscious mind. Your brain starts to accept this vision as a real possibility, which increases your confidence and commitment. Relentlessly pursuing your vision means staying focused and consistent, even when obstacles arise. Challenges are inevitable, but they don't have to derail you. When your success is clear in your mind, setbacks become temporary hurdles instead of stopping points. You keep pushing forward because your vision fuels your determination. This relentless pursuit is built on discipline and a refusal to give up on what matters most to you. Creating a daily practice of visualization strengthens your mental focus. Spend a few minutes each day imagining your success. This consistent mental rehearsal prepares you emotionally and mentally for the work ahead. It reduces doubt and fear by replacing them with confidence and clarity. Visualization primes your brain to recognize opportunities and solutions that align with your goals. Seeing yourself succeed also helps you identify the specific actions needed to get there. Your mind naturally looks for ways to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. This mental problem solving leads to better planning and smarter decisions. Visualization is a form of preparation that increases your effectiveness and reduces wasted effort. Pursuing your success relentlessly requires more than just mental images. It demands that you take concrete steps every day toward your goal. Visualization alone won't bring success. It must be paired with action. Use your vision as a compass to guide your daily priorities and habits. Ask yourself if what you're doing today aligns with the picture you've created of your future. If it doesn't, Adjust your course. Obstacles often come disguised as fear, doubt, or distractions. When you are clear about your success and committed to it, these obstacles lose their power. Your vision acts like a lighthouse in the storm, keeping you steady and focused. You develop resilience because you see beyond temporary discomfort to the long-term reward. Relentless pursuit also means embracing discomfort and uncertainty. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Sometimes you will need to take risks, make sacrifices, and push through resistance. Visualization helps by keeping your goal vivid and attractive, making those sacrifices feel worthwhile. It reminds you why you started and what you stand to gain. Accountability is important when pursuing success. Share your vision with trusted people who support your goals. Their encouragement and honest feedback keep you honest and motivated. Being part of a community that values growth creates an environment where relentless pursuit becomes easier. Tracking progress is another critical element. Measure your actions and results regularly. Celebrate milestones and learn from setbacks. Reflection helps you stay connected to your vision and adjust your efforts as needed. It prevents burnout by showing that your work is producing tangible results, even if success isn't immediate. Visualizing success clearly also changes your mindset about failure. When your goal is clear and meaningful, failures become lessons, not endpoints. You approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear. This mindset shift is crucial for maintaining momentum because it removes the fear that often paralyzes action. Energy management supports relentless pursuit. Your vision requires sustained effort, which depends on your physical and mental health. Prioritize rest, nutrition, and movement to keep your energy high. When you feel strong and alert, it's easier to stay focused on your goals and take consistent action. Avoid distractions that pull you away from your vision. This means setting boundaries with technology, relationships, and environments that do not support your growth. A clear vision helps you say no to things that don't serve your purpose. Every no is a step closer to your success. As you pursue your vision, embrace flexibility in your approach. The path to success is rarely straight. Be willing to adapt your strategies without losing sight of your goal. This balance of persistence and adaptability is key to overcoming challenges and seizing unexpected opportunities. Visualizing success also builds confidence because it shifts your internal narrative. Instead of doubting your abilities, you remind yourself that success is achievable. This mental rehearsal boosts self-belief, which is essential for taking bold steps and handling setbacks gracefully. Keep your vision alive by revisiting it often. Write it down, create vision boards, or use reminders that trigger your mental images. The more present your vision is in your mind, the more real it becomes in your life. This ongoing connection fuels your motivation and guides your choices daily. Success is not an event. It is a process fueled by clear vision and relentless pursuit. Your mind is the starting point where your future is shaped. By investing in vivid visualization and consistent action, you take control of your journey. You move with intention, resilience, and clarity toward the life you desire. Ultimately, visualizing success clearly and pursuing it relentlessly transforms potential into reality. It turns dreams into plans and plans into achievements. This practice empowers you to live with purpose and create a future defined by your highest aspirations. Keep your vision sharp, pursue it with unwavering commitment, and watch how your life changes. Chapter 17. Manage your time wisely to maximize productivity and growth. Time is the one resource that can never be replaced or renewed. How you manage your time directly affects your ability to grow and be productive. Every minute spent on unimportant tasks is a minute lost from what truly matters. Managing time wisely means making deliberate choices about how you use your hours. It requires clarity about priorities and discipline to stay focused. When time is managed well, productivity rises, stress decreases, and progress accelerates. Start by identifying your most important tasks. These are the actions that have the greatest impact on your goals and values. Many people spend too much time reacting to urgent but less important demands. Learning to distinguish between urgent and important is key. Focus your energy on high-value activities that push you forward. This focus ensures that your effort produces meaningful results rather than just busyness. Create a schedule that reflects your priorities. Block out time for your most important work during periods when your energy and concentration are highest. This intentional planning helps you avoid procrastination and distraction. It also makes it easier to say no to tasks that don't align with your goals. A well-structured day is a powerful tool for maintaining momentum and reducing overwhelm. Limit distractions that steal your attention. Turn off notifications on your devices, close unnecessary tabs on your computer, and create a workspace that supports focus. Distractions fragment your mind and waste valuable time. Even short interruptions add up and reduce overall productivity. Regard your focus as if it's precious, because it is. Deep work done without interruption produces far better results than scattered, fragmented effort. Break larger projects into smaller, manageable steps. This approach makes daunting tasks less intimidating and easier to start. Each completed step builds confidence and creates visible progress. It also allows you to adjust your approach as you go, improving effectiveness. Progress in small increments accumulates to significant achievement over time. Use tools that help track your time and tasks. Whether it's a simple to-do list, a digital planner, or a time-tracking app, find a system that works for you. These tools increase accountability and help you see where your time goes. With this awareness, you can make informed adjustments to improve efficiency and focus on what matters most. Avoid multitasking. While it may seem productive, multitasking actually reduces the quality and speed of work. Your brain performs best when focused on one task at a time. Complete one item before moving to the next. This single-tasking approach increases efficiency and lowers mistakes. Set clear deadlines for your tasks. Open-ended work can lead to procrastination and lower productivity. Deadlines create a sense of urgency and help prioritize. They also enable better planning and time allocation. Treat deadlines as commitments to yourself, not just external pressures. Make room for breaks and rest throughout your day. Continuous work without pauses leads to burnout and diminished focus. Short breaks recharge your brain, improve creativity, and sustain energy levels. Use breaks wisely. Step away from screens, stretch or take a short walk. These small pauses restore your ability to concentrate deeply when you return. Learn to delegate or eliminate tasks that don't require your personal attention. Not everything needs to be done by you. Delegating frees time for high-impact activities and reduces overwhelm. Eliminating unnecessary tasks cuts clutter from your schedule. Both strategies help you use your time more effectively. Reflect regularly on your time management. At the end of each day or week, review what you accomplished and where your time went. Identify patterns of distraction or inefficiency and make changes. Continuous reflection sharpens your awareness and improves your ability to manage time wisely. Be mindful of your energy rhythms and schedule demanding tasks accordingly. Some people have peak energy in the morning, others later in the day. Aligning tasks with your natural energy cycles boosts productivity. It also reduces frustration and exhaustion. Respect your body's signals and plan your work around them. Protect your time by setting boundaries. Communicate clearly with others about your availability. Learn to say no without guilt when requests conflict with your priorities. Boundaries prevent time theft and preserve space for what matters. They are essential for sustained productivity and personal growth. Time management is not about squeezing more tasks into your day, but about making room for what really matters. It's about quality, not just quantity. Prioritize growth activities such as learning, reflection, and strategic planning. These investments yield long-term benefits and keep you moving forward. Avoid perfectionism that stalls progress. Waiting for the perfect moment or flawless plan wastes time and energy. Take action with what you have and improve as you go. Forward movement creates clarity and momentum that waiting cannot. Remember that managing time wisely is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. Life changes, priorities shift, and new challenges arise. Adapt your time management strategies to stay aligned with your evolving goals. Flexibility combined with discipline leads to sustained productivity. Ultimately, mastering your time is mastering your life. Each moment is an opportunity to grow, create, and move closer to your vision. When you choose to manage your time intentionally, you reclaim control over your day and your destiny. This power transforms not just what you do, but who you become. Chapter 18. Eliminate toxic habits that undermine your potential. Toxic habits quietly sabotage your progress and dim the light of your potential. They act as invisible chains, holding you back from becoming the person you want to be. These habits might seem harmless at first, or even comforting, but over time they erode your energy, focus, and motivation. Eliminating them is not just about stopping bad behavior. It's about creating space for healthier, more productive routines that align with your goals and values. Recognizing toxic habits requires honest self-examination. Some habits are obvious, like procrastination or excessive screen time, while others are subtle, such as negative self-talk or people-pleasing. The first step is to identify which behaviors consistently drain your energy or lead you away from your path. Awareness alone isn't enough, but it lays the foundation for change. You can't change what you don't see clearly. Once you know which habits are toxic, you need to understand the triggers behind them. Habits often serve a purpose, even if it's misguided. For example, stress might push you to overeat or avoid tasks. Boredom might lead to mindless scrolling on social media. Identifying what causes these behaviors helps you develop better strategies to address them. Instead of relying on willpower alone, you replace old patterns with healthier responses tailored to your needs. Breaking free from toxic habits demands patience and persistence. Change is rarely immediate or smooth. There will be setbacks and moments of frustration. This is normal and part of the growth process. Rather than beating yourself up for slipping, treat each moment as an opportunity to learn and recommit. Consistency over time is what leads to lasting transformation. Create clear and specific goals for the habits you want to change. Vague intentions like "stop wasting time" are hard to measure and easy to ignore. Instead, decide exactly what behavior you want to eliminate and what will replace it. For instance, limit social media use to 30 minutes a day, or replace evening snacking with drinking herbal tea. Clear goals provide direction and make success tangible. Replace toxic habits with positive alternatives. This strategy helps fill the void left when bad habits are removed. If you usually reach for junk food when stressed, find a healthier way to cope, like going for a walk or practicing deep breathing. If procrastination is a problem, break tasks into smaller steps and reward yourself for progress. Positive replacements keep your mind and body engaged and make quitting easier. Build a support system to encourage your changes. Share your goals with friends, family, or mentors who can hold you accountable and provide encouragement. Sometimes toxic habits are tied to social environments. Surrounding yourself with people who support your growth strengthens your commitment and makes it easier to resist old patterns. Track your progress to stay motivated. Keep a journal or use an app to record when you resist toxic habits and how you feel afterward. Seeing improvements, even small ones, reinforces your efforts and highlights the benefits of change. Progress tracking also helps identify patterns so you can adjust strategies if needed. Manage your environment to reduce temptation. If certain situations or surroundings trigger toxic habits, change them. Remove junk food from your home if unhealthy eating is an issue. Limit time in places or with people who encourage negative behaviors. Adjusting your environment creates natural barriers that support your new habits. Practice self-compassion throughout the process. Eliminating toxic habits can be difficult and sometimes uncomfortable. Don't fall into the trap of self-criticism when mistakes happen. Instead, acknowledge your efforts and remind yourself that growth takes time. Kindness toward yourself fuels resilience and long-term success. Develop mindfulness to increase your control over habits. When you become more aware of your thoughts, feelings, and impulses, you gain power over automatic behaviors. Techniques like meditation or focused breathing help you pause before acting. This moment of pause is often enough to choose a different, healthier response. Understand that toxic habits do more than waste time. They damage your self-image and limit your belief in what's possible. Each time you give in to these habits, you reinforce a narrative that you can't change or improve. Breaking free challenges that narrative and builds confidence. It proves to yourself that you have control over your life and destiny. Stay committed to your vision of who you want to become. This vision is a powerful motivator that helps you resist short-term gratification from toxic habits. Keep reminding yourself of the bigger picture, what you're working toward and why it matters. The pain of letting go is temporary, but the rewards of transformation last a lifetime. Eliminating toxic habits frees up mental and emotional space. When you stop spending energy on self-destructive patterns, you can invest more in creativity, relationships, and meaningful pursuits. This shift not only improves your productivity, but also enriches your quality of life. Replace judgment with curiosity as you observe your habits. Instead of labeling yourself as lazy or weak, ask why you turn to these behaviors. What needs or emotions are driving them? Curiosity opens doors to understanding and healing that judgment closes. It transforms the journey into an exploration rather than a battle. Plan for challenges ahead of time. Anticipate situations where toxic habits might resurface and create strategies to handle them. For example, if stress triggers overeating, prepare healthy snacks or schedule relaxation time. Preparing in advance strengthens your ability to stay on track when temptation arises. Celebrate your victories along the way. Each moment you choose a healthy habit over a toxic one is progress. Acknowledge and reward yourself to build positive reinforcement. Celebrations don't have to be grand. Even small gestures like a quiet moment of gratitude or a walk in nature can solidify your new habits. Recognize that eliminating toxic habits is a lifelong process, not a one-time fix. Old patterns may try to return, especially during stressful periods. Maintain vigilance and continue practicing new habits with dedication. Over time, the positive behaviors become second nature and your potential shines through unhindered. Ultimately, letting go of toxic habits is an act of respect toward yourself and your future. It's choosing growth over comfort, strength over weakness, and possibility over limitation. This commitment is one of the most important steps you can take to raise your standards and live a fulfilling life. The path may be challenging, but the freedom and power you gain are worth every effort. Chapter 19. Stay consistent with your goals, despite obstacles or setbacks. Consistency is the cornerstone of achievement. Goals set without steady effort quickly fade into forgotten ideas. Obstacles and setbacks are inevitable, but they do not define your journey unless you let them. Staying consistent means showing up day after day with purpose, regardless of how difficult or discouraging circumstances become. It is the persistent action over time that turns dreams into reality. Understanding that obstacles will come prepares you mentally to face them without losing momentum. Life is full of unexpected challenges. Illness, financial stress, or emotional turmoil can all disrupt progress. Rather than seeing these moments as failures or reasons to quit, view them as temporary roadblocks. Your ability to stay consistent through difficulty separates those who succeed from those who give up. Building consistency starts with realistic goal setting. Goals that are too large or vague are easy to abandon. Break your ambitions into smaller, manageable tasks that you can commit to daily. These micro steps create a clear roadmap and reduce overwhelm. Each small success builds confidence and motivates you to continue. Routine is a powerful ally in maintaining consistency. When your actions become habits, they require less effort and willpower. Design your day to include regular time for working toward your goals. Consistent routines help your mind and body anticipate what comes next, creating a rhythm that supports progress. Mindset plays a crucial role in perseverance. Cultivate a mindset that welcomes setbacks as part of growth rather than proof of failure. Obstacles offer valuable lessons and opportunities to develop resilience. Embrace challenges as chances to strengthen your character and deepen your commitment. Accountability enhances consistency. Share your goals with someone who supports your growth and can provide encouragement and honest feedback. Knowing someone is watching your progress increases your motivation to follow through. Accountability partners also help you navigate tough times and celebrate milestones. When setbacks occur, analyze what happened without judgment. Identify any changes needed in your approach or mindset. This reflection turns obstacles into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Adjust your plan as necessary, but keep your focus on the end goal. Avoid the trap of perfectionism that delays action. Waiting for the perfect conditions often leads to inaction. Commit to progress over perfection, and recognize that mistakes are part of learning. Taking imperfect action consistently is more productive than waiting for flawless execution. Celebrate small wins to reinforce your efforts. Recognizing progress fuels motivation and keeps enthusiasm alive. These moments of success remind you that your hard work produces real results. Gratitude for what you achieve sustains your energy and desire to keep going. Energy management is essential for sustaining consistency. Prioritize rest, nutrition, and physical activity to maintain stamina. When your body feels strong, it's easier to stay focused and disciplined. Neglecting self-care often leads to burnout, making consistency difficult to maintain. Visualize the benefits of staying consistent. Imagine how your life will improve as you reach your goals. This mental picture strengthens your resolve and keeps you anchored during difficult times. When motivation wanes, reconnect with this vision to reignite your commitment. Be flexible in your approach while remaining steadfast in your goal. Life circumstances change, and sometimes your methods must adapt. Flexibility prevents frustration and keeps you moving forward. Holding your goal lightly while staying firm in your purpose allows you to navigate obstacles with grace. Recognize that setbacks do not erase your progress. Each day you recommit adds to your momentum. Persistence accumulates power over time. Consistency builds an unshakable foundation that supports long-term success. Develop habits that support your consistency. These include planning your day, prioritizing tasks, and minimizing distractions. Create an environment that nurtures focus and determination. Your surroundings can either reinforce or undermine your efforts. Practice self-compassion when things don't go as planned. Being harsh with yourself diminishes motivation and confidence. Instead, treat setbacks as part of the journey and renew your dedication. Compassion creates emotional resilience, necessary for sustained effort. Limit exposure to negative influences that discourage your progress. Surround yourself with people and content that uplift and inspire. Positive support networks strengthen your ability to persevere and maintain focus. Remember why you started. Revisit the reasons behind your goals regularly. This connection provides meaning and fuels persistence. When purpose is clear, obstacles lose their power to derail you. Keep your commitments public when possible. Sharing your progress with others increases accountability and motivation. Public commitments make it harder to quit and easier to stay consistent. Use reminders and prompts to maintain focus. Visual cues, alarms, or notes can reinforce your daily actions. These triggers help build automaticity and reduce reliance on willpower alone. Stay patient and trust the process. Results rarely come overnight. Consistent effort over time compounds into significant achievement. Trust that your persistence will pay off even when progress feels slow. Recognize that staying consistent shapes who you become. The daily choices and actions build discipline, confidence, and strength. Your identity grows alongside your accomplishments. Focus on what you can control, your effort and attitude. External circumstances will fluctuate, but your response remains within your power. Choosing consistency in mindset and action empowers you in every situation. When motivation fades, rely on discipline and habit to carry you through. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. Habits create stability that does not depend on fluctuating feelings. Setbacks provide valuable feedback, not defeat. Use them to refine your approach and deepen your understanding. Each challenge faced strengthens your capacity to succeed. In the face of obstacles, remind yourself that persistence is a skill to be cultivated. Like any skill, it improves with practice and patience. Keep practicing daily. Staying consistent is a declaration of self-respect and commitment. It signals that your goals matter and you are willing to do what it takes. This mindset strengthens your resolve and attracts opportunities aligned with your growth. Ultimately, consistency turns intentions into reality. It is the persistent, focused effort that makes dreams achievable. When you commit to showing up every day despite challenges, you create unstoppable momentum toward your highest aspirations. Chapter 20. Celebrate small wins to fuel motivation and momentum. Every journey toward a meaningful goal is made up of countless small steps. Often, the biggest mistake is waiting to celebrate only the major achievements, overlooking the power of small wins. Recognizing and celebrating these smaller victories fuels motivation and builds momentum that carries you forward. Small wins are proof of progress, proof that your effort is working, and proof that change is possible. They transform hard work into visible results, making the path ahead feel more manageable and inspiring. Celebrating small wins is about acknowledging progress, no matter how minor it seems. It means pausing to reflect on what you have accomplished, rather than focusing solely on what is left to do. This practice shifts your mindset from scarcity and frustration to abundance and gratitude. Every success, regardless of size, deserves recognition because it reinforces positive behavior and encourages continued effort. When you celebrate a small win, you activate your brain's reward system. This release of positive chemicals strengthens the desire to keep pushing. It creates a natural cycle where effort leads to reward, which fuels more effort. Over time, this builds resilience against discouragement and reduces the likelihood of burnout. Small wins also improve confidence. When progress is visible, doubts about your ability fade. Each achievement proves that you are capable of change and growth. This growing belief in yourself supports risk-taking and bold actions that are necessary for big breakthroughs. Create a habit of identifying small wins daily. At the end of each day, take a moment to write down what went well or what you accomplished. These can be simple actions like completing a task, sticking to a routine, or overcoming a challenge. Writing them down makes them concrete and harder to overlook. It also creates a record of progress that you can revisit on tougher days to remind yourself how far you have come. Don't compare small wins to large accomplishments. Each step forward has value on its own. Comparing can diminish your sense of achievement and lead to frustration. Instead, focus on consistency and growth, celebrating every positive step in your unique journey. Celebrate wins in ways that feel meaningful to you. It might be a quiet moment of reflection, a small treat, sharing your success with a friend, or taking a short break. The form of celebration matters less than the intention behind it. What counts is honoring your effort and making success tangible. Sharing your small wins with others amplifies their impact. When you tell someone about your progress, you invite support and encouragement. This social connection increases accountability and motivation. It also builds a community of positivity around your goals. Acknowledging small wins helps you stay present and engaged in the process. It reminds you that success is not just a distant destination, but a series of moments experienced fully. This presence enhances your enjoyment and reduces anxiety about the future. Small wins provide valuable feedback. They show what strategies are working and where adjustments might be needed. Recognizing what leads to success allows you to replicate effective behaviors and improve your approach. When setbacks occur, reflecting on small wins softens their impact. You can see that progress is still happening despite challenges. This balanced perspective prevents discouragement and supports perseverance. Celebrating small wins encourages a growth mindset. You begin to see effort and improvement as worthy goals, rather than fixed abilities or instant results. This mindset fosters learning, experimentation, and continuous development. Make celebrating wins a regular part of your routine. Integrate it into your daily, weekly, or monthly reviews. Consistent recognition keeps motivation high and prevents stagnation. It also turns progress into a habit rather than a sporadic event. Balance celebration with humility and continued effort. Recognize that each win is a building block, not the final achievement. This balance keeps you grounded while encouraging ongoing growth. Be mindful not to let celebration become an excuse for complacency. Use wins as fuel to push further, not reasons to slow down. Motivation is strongest when celebration and ambition work together. Small wins create a positive narrative about your journey. Instead of focusing on difficulties or delays, your story becomes one of steady improvement and success. This narrative influences your emotions and actions, reinforcing your commitment. Use small wins to spark creativity and inspiration. Each victory can open new ideas and possibilities. It encourages you to experiment and innovate, enriching your path forward. Celebrate progress in all areas of life, not just the primary goal. Health, relationships, mindset, and learning all contribute to your overall growth. Recognizing achievements in these domains creates a holistic sense of success. Develop rituals that highlight your wins. These rituals anchor positive emotions and create a sense of celebration. Rituals can be as simple as lighting a candle, writing a journal entry, or taking a moment of gratitude. Remember that motivation fluctuates naturally. Celebrating small wins helps smooth out these fluctuations by providing regular boosts. This consistency prevents motivation from becoming dependent on rare or large successes. Stay flexible in your celebrations. What feels meaningful may change as you grow. Adapt your methods to keep the practice fresh and engaging. This flexibility keeps you connected to your progress and excited about the journey. Finally, view every small win as a victory over doubt, fear, and inertia. Each step forward is a statement of your strength and commitment. Together, these wins create unstoppable momentum that drives you toward your highest potential.